ladies and gentlemen, to NBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What is up, my party people? Great to have you here on a Tuesday. It is NFL Draft Week. If you've ever been around here during NFL Draft Week, we try to pump out as much content as possible, but we're not, Mel Kiper around here. We're not Todd McShay. I'm not out here banging out mock drafts like I used to. For those of you who don't know, I actually got my start in media covering the NFL Draft for a little company called Fansided. A little website called NFL Mocks. Shout outs to Sarah Bettinger. He might be watching tonight. My original boss, my original editor. That's where I got my start. And my role for that company was to literally be a player profiler. Like, all I was tasked to do is, hey, explain who this player is as a football player. That's all you got to do. And I think, honestly, it's kind of a unique, original start into a media space that kind of is where I've landed. I think the thing that we do best on this channel is evaluate football players. I think we tell you who football players are in between that lines better than anybody. I think it's what we do and what we do best. So tonight, as a way of saying thank you and as a way of sending football players off, we're going to give our final evaluation of Georgia football players that we believe are going to be first-round draft picks or are carrying projections of a first-round draft pick. Got a handful of names tonight for you, as you would expect, with Georgia football players in mind. Might give you a few random draft takes, like off the rip right now. I was very close, and I still am. I'm very close as this draft nears prior to Thursday's kickoff of the first round, letting you know that I think C.J. Stroud is a better and more safe pick entering this draft than Bryce Young. Hot take. I'll also tell you that I am not a Will Levis fan. If I were to, link the projects in the draft together, okay, there would be a big old group of project right here with Will Levis, okay? And then right below that, as a not-so-much project and much higher ceiling, would be Anthony Richardson. So I got loads of NFL draft takes. That's not what tonight is necessarily about. Tonight is about giving like I said, our final send-off, our final thoughts, our stamp, our boom, see ya, bye-bye, okay? We don't say bye in my family. It carries a final it carries a finality to it that I don't necessarily feel comfortable with. We always say see you, because when it comes to my family, I want to see you later, right? I do not allow my wife to tell me bye. I do not tell my wife bye. But tonight, we are going to tell Georgia players bye, okay? It feels very uncomfortable. We're going to say bye. We ain't going to say see you later, because there ain't no more see you later. They gone. They gone forever. And we'll kind of do them in sequential order based off their draft positioning. But glad to have you guys in here tonight. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be almost strictly draft-oriented, though the producers do want me to let you know that apparently there's been a storm or a field storming rule change in the SEC this year. The SEC is considering harshening discipline given to those teams and the players rushing the field. I don't know if Georgia's ever had the field rushed. I think it might be a hedges thing. I know the hedges have been torn up, but for the love of God, don't storm fields. I think it's corny. I think the shit Clemson does is beyond corny. Clemson leads the country in field storming. They out here beating Louisville by 4, storming the field as the number 2 ranked team in the country annually. Just makes me feel it. You ever get secondhand cringe? That's what I get from Clemson. I get a lot of secondhand cringe from Clemson University. I also have noted their fan base as the Canadians of college football. I don't think there is a nicer group of fans. I don't think there is a group of fans that have no malice or hardness in their heart at all. I think Clemson fans are extremely nice. They beat your ass and say, hey, you did a good job. They get their ass beat, and they're like, hey, we'll get you next time. That's how Clemson fans have been for me in my experience with them. Don't even know how we got there. Oh, storming the field. Don't do it. I think it's cliche. I think if you're Tennessee and you beat Alabama, by God, for the first time in 17 years, you do that shit. And you take whatever penalty comes with it. But when it comes to the normal schools that win on a normal basis, you ain't got to be doing this stuff. Ain't got to be doing this stuff at all, especially you, secondhand cringe Clemson. That's what we're going to call them from now on, cringe Clemson. Yeah, great to have you guys in tonight. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that support button. Don't have a real structured show tonight. We don't have a bunch of topics. We're just going to rat-a-tat-tat, okay? We're going to go through them player by player and just get them done. Starting with Jalen Carter. And this is going to be a really interesting draft for me because this is really the first true class of football players that I made very staunch opinions about coming out of high school. Now we do it with every kid. We give you our opinion on every single kid. Our signing day super show is one of the best things we do. It's almost 3 hours long every single year, and we go rat-a-tat-tat through almost every single player and give you our evaluations of that player. And now this is, like I said, the first class where we're going to look today at some film breakdown of me back in COVID. This is the originations of the film guy. All right, is what we're going to watch today. I'm super excited to bring it to you. Just kind of a look at how far we've come as a platform as well. But let's talk about Jalen Carter, man. This is a football player from Apopka, Florida. I remember being fascinated by the fact that, Apopka is really known for kind of producing talent, college football talent. But, I mean, it ain't like a city that's known for the superstars that come out of there. It's known for the talent that comes out of there, never for the Jalen Carters of the world. This is the only other guy that's come out of that group or that area, in my knowledge, that we know of is Warren Sapp, okay? But there are constantly Power 5 football players that come out of there every single year, okay, and go play for Power 5 football programs every single year. But the two names that are Opopka royalty, particularly on the defensive line, Warren Sapp, Jalen Carter, okay, from the same exact area, from the same exact high school. This is a football player that Georgia originally found on the basketball circuit. So for those of you who don't know, it's probably because you're new to the platform, but Georgia scouts and sends coaches to just as many track meets, basketball games, as they do football games in the fall. Because the recruiting calendar in terms of visitations and when they're allowed to go out on the trail, it's year round, right? So you might right now they're able to go out in the middle of April, right? And end of May rather, they're allowed to go see players. Well, guess what a lot of players are doing right now? Some of them are playing basketball, some of them are running track, some are playing AAU basketball, rather. Some of them are running track. Okay, some of them are playing 7-on-7. Whatever it is, whatever school affiliated event you can go to, you can go to. So I'll never forget, when I saw Vic Burley last year, Clemson commit, Clemson signees up there enrolled right now. When I saw him last year at this time, he was throwing shot put on track. So you weren't watching him play football. You were watching him do something else. So, yeah, that's how they found Jalen Carter. He was hooping, and my God, was he hooping. At 6'3", 300 pounds, I mean, I put it out on Twitter today. I mean, he's windmilling. It looked like Zion Williamson in his prime, but not like a 6'3" Zion, not like a 6'9", 6'8" Zion, however big Zion Williamson is. But that kind of bounce, that kind of explosion, that's exactly what it was. And for me, the comp was easy. The comp, I'll give you a new one now. It's changed for me as his player has developed throughout college. But I think I nailed this one pretty close, and you'll hear this one a lot on draft night. Okay, you will hear this name with regards to 3 techniques that can win on a high rate. Okay, and I compared him to Aaron Donald. And again, man,
getting the even feet, right? Getting this guard, and I think this guy's playing center, to overcommit and then slap him down on his face. This is something you're going to see Aaron Donald do as well. This guy's oversetting, so what's Carter going to do? Boom, he's going to get him square him up, and then rip him inside. And all of it's quick feet, right? But it's also a great hand fight, being able to fight that guy off and identify the lean and then slap the back of his head and put him on his face. Okay, but it all starts at this point right here. Boom. The pitter-patter at the bottom of the feet. The getting this guy to overcommit. Make him set away. Rush with a plan. Footage. Boom. Hit him with the rip, and then get inside.
In his all-star game.
Here we go. Same exact move, except from Aaron Donald in a live football game here. Back to this wide double threes technique here. Just trying to get a one-on-one situation against this right guard. Get him a little exposed. Flap, inside move. Gets him square. Doesn't quite get the sack, but gets the pressure here, and that's the most important thing right here. Let's take a look at it on the slow-mo from the tight angle. You're going to see what we're talking about with Jalen Carter. Getting their feet even, making the guard commit to a way, making him lean with his head, and then hitting him with that inside rip and putting him on his face. Almost ideally here. Now, Aaron Donald does it a little bit more explosively. Let's get out of the slow for a second. Does it a little bit more explosively, but it's the same technique. Feet even, right there. Boom, you see it? Feet even, and then rips right inside, leaving the guard on his face. Gets a pressure, gets a hand in the face of the quarterback. But again, this move starts and ends right here. Boom, getting the feet even. Just like the wide receivers, right? We were just talking about with Jalen Carter. Make this guard commit. Soon as he leans outside, slap him inside, and let's get going. Wham! There he goes. Guard's committing a little bit outside, thinks he's going to get a speed rush from Donald. Donald slaps him in, feet way overextended at this point, and boom, on his face, we've got a quarterback pressure.
Yeah. First of all, when I watched that, wow, we at that time in our career, my career, we are paying for Screenomatic. What was that? Screenomatic? Is that what that ugly ass watermark on that was? We're paying for Screenomatic. We don't have a camera on yours truly, okay? And we're screen recording. We're not live. I mean, it's just, hey, first of all, kudos to you guys. But also, I'm gonna tap myself on the back. I'm really, really hard on myself. Okay, I am. I try to aspire to constantly improve the product and constantly drive to make it better. And when I watched that today, I was proud of what we've done here. I was proud of what we've changed. I'm also not necessarily proud. I'm not proud of him. I don't really know him like that. But the football player totally changed than what we watched right there. And the comp for me has totally changed. I don't know what I actually know what it was. I know what it was about the high school tape that made me think Aaron Donald. There was a ton of twitch on the high school tape because he's playing high school football players. But that is not what I will remember Jalen Carter for. That is not the football player that you are drafting when you draft him on Thursday night. That is not what it is. This is not a twitch. This is not a Tasmanian devil. This is not Devontae Wyatt. This is not Jordan Davis. This is Jalen Carter. And what I mean by that is, he is the strongest MFer I've ever evaluated at this position. Double teams, triple teams, doesn't matter. He does not get moved in the run game. You will never see him be reset. You will never see him when he's taking a rep and really, really taking it and aggressively taking it. You will never see him move back, ever. He is the strongest human being with his two cleats in the ground that I have ever seen. When he punches you, he takes the soul out of your body. When he has his hands on you, he completely controls you as an individual. That is what Jalen Carter is. Okay, so for all of this, oh, well, he didn't test well at his pro day, or he didn't test at all, or, oh, we didn't get to see him run, or, oh, he's a little bit heavy and overweight right now. All that stuff, like, it never applied to him as a football player. Obviously, he can't show up at 350 pounds, but this isn't a dude that relied on being God's gift to speed, sideline to sideline, at 300 pounds. This is a dude that has won since he was 18 years old with great feet and great hands. Hey, what is defensive line play other than that? It's not. Okay, I've never been blown away, like I said, with the twitch of this athlete. The eval has always been about his ability to be bigger, stronger than everybody else, not bigger and fastest or bigger and faster. Jalen Carter, to me, is a penetrator. That's what he does best. He takes you and puts you 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's really freaking hard to play offense like that when you've got a guard 2 yards backwards almost every snap. That's really, really hard to do. And that's what this dude has been since he walked into the league. I promise you right now, and I want to tell you this. I wish I could show you this, but we are live right now. So there are video rights that we can't get into. But I have freshman tape of this dude. Like, I'm not going to say bitching, but I'm talking about manning Trey Smith, an all-pro, a junior all-pro at that. No, excuse me, a senior, a fourth-year senior all-pro left guard, Tennessee, 2020. Jalen Carter tossing that big joker 3 gaps as a true freshman. I also have tape of 2 weeks prior to that. Auburn running a screenplay. Bo Nix running around doing something, trying to set up a screen pass to Tank Bigsby. Freshman Jalen Carter. First home game, Jalen Carter. 18-year-old Jalen Carter is, he is in the hair sights, the eye sights of an offensive lineman whose job is literally called the ambulance man on screens. Okay, so for those of you who don't necessarily know football, screen passes are what? They're delayed passes behind the line of scrimmage, and they toss it to him, and then everybody gets out, right? Offensive linemen trying to get out and block small guys, and the running backs back there running behind them. Well, there's one guy who's called the ambulance man or the rat chaser, right? Whose job it is as an offensive lineman to turn around, peel his head back around, and find whoever thinks they're pursuing this play that can't see you. Okay, this is the offensive lineman's dream, to see a dumb 18-year-old kid who doesn't know what's coming for him turn and try to chase a screen down and find a junior offensive lineman from Auburn. This is what happened to Jalen Carter, his third game of his career. He is a dead man walking. And next thing I know, he turns his head around, sees this dude trying to kill him, and sticks him cold. Boom. Drops the dude like he got shot from the damn press box in Sanford Stadium. Dude's body goes limp. He thought he had one. He thought he had one. An 18-year-old freshman. This has been him. This dude has been that on the football field since the moment he walked into the SEC as an 18-year-old freshman. If you guys remember, Georgia fans, you will remember this. The first time Jalen Carter went viral, it's because he was whipping Trey Hill's ass in a one-on-one board drill. In preseason fall camp, the first time the dude ever put pads on, he was manning NFL football players. That's what this dude was the moment he walked into college football. Okay, and by the way, he only got better. You listen to anybody that, I mean, we'll get to the character stuff in just a moment. Trust me, okay? But if you listen to anybody who knows anything about football that is doing their job on this NFL draft evaluation, ask them man to man, what is the best 5-game stretch Jalen Carter has ever played in his career? And they will tell you the 5-game stretch or the stretch of games when he returned from his ankle injury when he didn't have to this year. That dude played the best football of his career to finish the pursuit of a second national title. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's right there. The LSU game is a prime example. That's the first time that dude got healthy and was ready to rock since that Missouri game and was like fully ready to go. Took over the show. I mean, absolutely took over the show. The championship weekends, we're talking about Jalen Carter, not the Heisman race. Nah. Everyone knows Caleb Williams won it. But the memory, the image that college football fans have from that weekend is this right here, right? It's Jalen Carter holding Jaden Daniels up. That's what it was. So, again, as a football player, this has been one of them. It's been one of them for a long time, and there are no signs really of him not being that at the next level. Now, I am not one, never have been, to call into questions of character concerns of athletes. Don't really like it. And trust me, there are a few that know these there are a few, in my opinion, that know these Georgia athletes quite like I do. I'm not going to talk about his personal character. It's not my place to do it. Nor is it, if you want that information, and if I were to ever give you that information, my ever true evaluation of someone's character, buddy, you better be an NFL executive asking me for a life-changing decision. That's why you're calling. Other than that, it's not my place. Not my place to be out here giving opinions about whether or not somebody's a good person. That's not my job. All right, but let's talk about him as a football player. Let's talk about him as a football character. Let's talk about that. Let's not talk about the personal character. Let's talk about the football character of Jalen Carter. He does have a propensity to take plays off, as most defensive linemen do. I can show you that. It's quantifiable. I can look at it on tape. Matter of fact, if you go back and watch our Jalen Carter film review, okay, we watched South Carolina from 2020, okay, and then we watched Kentucky from 2020. We did this film study in, I think, February of 2021, okay, after his freshman year, before the national title. And we watched. And if you remember that Kentucky game, it's the first game he has to really, really get called upon because Julian Rochester gets hurt and Jordan Davis gets hurt in that Kentucky game in 2020, the 14-6 football game. All right. Jalen Carter gets called into action, and he is gassed, boys and girls. He is loafing for a better part of 2 quarters in the back half of that football game. We called it out right there. It has been there. It's been a propensity to, 2nd and 7. We're just going to take a playoff. It's 1st and 10, first possession of the quarter. We're just going to take a playoff. Screen pass over there. We're just not going to run the angle down because we just got to play the next down anyways. We're just going to take it off. He has had a propensity to do that. But I'm going to tell you what, when it's 2nd and 2 and the only way you're going to get off the field on 3rd down is to get a tackle for loss absolutely beat the shit out of a guard or a double team, tackle the running back, force a 3rd and 5, then get off the field on 3rd down because you rushed the quarterback's decision-making on 3rd and 5 and he had to throw it out of bounds. When those kind of things happen, or when those kind of things need to happen, 88 always showed up. Always showed up every single time Georgia needed a play. Very much so like Azeez Ojulari in this sense. I always felt like Azeez was going to make the play on 3rd and 5. Always did. When he was at Georgia, always felt like that dude was going to make the play on the possession that they needed to stop. Always did. You know why? He's a damn good football player. Jalen Carter's the same exact way. Does he have a propensity to take plays off? Yes. Does he also have a propensity to be the best football player on the field in the game's most critical moments? Yeah. Is that what you're paying for? Yeah. Yeah, you are. I would go back and look. The comp to me has changed. It was Aaron Donald. It is no longer Aaron Donald for me. You know why? Because I know Aaron Donald's football character. I know Aaron Donald's off-field character. I know what he does in his off seasons. He works his ass off. Look at his body. That is what he does. That is why he's one of one. That's why he's the greatest to ever do what he does, because he is a one-of-one worker and he is godly gifted. All right. I don't know if Jalen is a one-of-one. Actually, I know for a fact right now he is not a one-of-one worker. That's okay. He is a one-of-one football player. And we still take those and we compare them to football players like Fletcher Cox and Grady Jarrett and Ed Oliver, who, by the way, guys, will play 12 years in the league and will make a half dozen Pro Bowls. And if you pick that, and if you can guarantee with a 75% certainty that the player you are drafting in the top 10 is that, you can sign off on anything. You can tell your owner anything you want because you have made him feel safe about his $25 million investment. Because I think it's a safe one. Despite all the stuff that people are throwing at you, Jalen Carter is a safe investment. On to the next one, Broderick Jones. I got another video for you. Watch this one. Very, very suspect music choices from the previous editor, a.k.a. me.
Last one to get a minute and a half break. Coach, punch!
But it's my boy, Big Kevin McAlmont right here, training Broderick. I'll give you some more back for here in a second on this.
Yeah, have the hand ready to strike. If I go inside, put the hand up. Put the hand up. If I go inside, all right? However it is, it might be one, it might be 2 quick steps, but I'm ready.
Shout out Big Kev.
That's freaking good. Do it again. See if it's back to back.
All right.
You gotta sell it like every time.
I want you to pay attention to just the basics. Guys, they're literally working kick slides and hand pressures. That's it. Hand strikes and kick slides. When I first walked up on Broderick Jones, that was the base knowledge of where they were in the development of his game. Kevin McAlmont is one of the best in the state of Georgia doing that, right? Training offensive linemen, specializing in training offensive linemen. He is the best, one of the best in the whole entire area doing it, okay? That footage, guys, that was not taken last summer. That was not taken 2 summers ago. That footage was taken in May of 2020. We're in the dead heat of COVID. If you see it, the first video, at the very beginning of the video, you'll see Broderick throw his hands up, okay, and basically say, like, what's up to the guy driving into the parking lot. Right here, check us out. Boom. You know who he's waving at? Right there at the bottom of the hill? That's a police officer. A police officer showed up to the workout because we were not supposed to be there because it was COVID lockdown. All right? And we got this 6'6", 5-star offensive tackle out there running around. The police officer obviously noticed it was Broderick. That's why you saw him throw his hands up. The police officer got on the intercom system and was like, "Go, that's you, Broderick. Go back to doing what you're doing, son. It's all good." All right? Because he's Broderick Jones in Lithonia, Georgia. We've told this story on the network before. But nonetheless, that football player you watch right there, that I called him a baby deer. That's what he looked like. They were working, foundational stuff. If we were teaching calculus in college football, they were teaching him algebra 1 just now. You know what I'm saying? A squared plus B squared equals C squared type stuff. That was the math that they were teaching him just there, okay? Guys, that was not that long ago. That was 3.5 years ago. That was 37 months ago. 37 months. That ain't a lot. All right, if this football player were a child, okay, and the footage I showed you was him in kindergarten or pre-K, what you are looking at right now is a fourth grader that's about to get drafted in the top 15 of the NFL draft. That's what Broderick Jones is. I can't even define to you how much of just the floor this dude is scratching. He barely getting into this, guys. He is barely getting into the refinement that is required to play this position. Guys, 18 months ago, I can show you tape of him getting into a national title game. It's about more than 18 months ago. It's like 24 months ago, right? Almost, no. This is 14 months ago. This is the first national title game. He's thrown in, right? Warren Erickson goes down. Jamari has to kick in the guard. Broderick Jones thrown into the game against Will Anderson. Guys, that kid is just surviving. They threw him into the Sharks with nothing but a daggum piece of plywood, and he's out there treading water. I mean, he had no clue what he was doing. He was beating folks off God. 14 months later against TCU, I see that dude turning his head around, calling checks and hots and figuring out protections with his quarterback. Because he was a completely different football player. Because guess what? He finally got to play football. He finally got to play high-level football. And when you are this gifted, this is a one percenter. This is the definition of a one-of-one athlete. When you are this physically gifted, all it takes is some good coaching that you can soak up. That's it. All it takes is good coaching and the ability to be around people who are going to like push you to the limits of your success, which is exactly what Broderick's been the last couple of years. So kudos to him for getting developed. But I will tell you this right now. And again, these are my Georgia opinions, but I will give you my draft opinions in the midst of these. The Peter Skronsky kid from Northwestern, he is going to be a really, really solid NFL football player. He will play 10 years in this league, 12 years in this league, and he will probably make $200 million doing so playing offensive tackle. Not a bad football player. But he ain't going to get miles better when he gets to the NFL. That player is who he is, physically, mentally, technique-wise. The same exact thing can and will be said about Paris Campbell. I love Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell is one of the best interviews I've ever had. And I don't even think I recorded the damn thing because I was just so enthralled with the conversation that he and I were having. He is a tremendous human being. He will be an addition to your program and your culture. But I'm telling you right now, he doesn't have miles and tremendous amounts of room for improvement. Broderick Jones is the quality of football player, almost identical quality of football player as those two human beings, and he ain't even close to what he fitting to be. This to me is Trent Williams. This to me is Penei Sewell. I was so enthralled with Penei Sewell because of what he could do athletically. I know what the testing numbers were. I don't give a shit. I watched that guy on film at Oregon. I watched the things that they did offensively with that guy and with that physical specimen that he was on the field with his footwork and his athleticism and his ability to get to spots on the field that offensive tackles are simply not supposed to do. Broderick Jones is that and everything more athletically. Now, he is not the refined run blocker that you need. He is not, but guess what? You throw the damn ball 55, 55, 60% of the snaps anyways. This is going to be a Pro Bowler. I'm just stamped right there. Because what I found over the last, 37 months of his development at the University of Georgia is this is a guy that is just obsessed with getting better at football. So he's going to get better at football. He's going to continue to get better at football. I'm with the first two. Okay, I'm with the evaluations. I'm with the slot. I understand, guys. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna keep it a buck, as everybody says. I don't think the character concerns that folks have about Jalen Carter, they have certainly impacted his draft positioning. He is probably going to be the third defensive player taken off the board. I think that kid, the Wilson kid, Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech might come off the board from what I've heard before him. And Will Anderson, the safe defensive end pick from Alabama, might come off the board before him. But I'm going to tell you right now, he was not going 1-1. He was not going 2-2 or 1-2. He was not going 1-3. He was not going 1-4. the way that they're talking about these quarterbacks, defensive linemen ain't going to get picked. Or, defensive football players might not get picked till the third, fourth, fifth spot anyways, unless you're going to Houston, which it sounds like they like the Tyree Wilson kid out of Texas A&M anyway, or Texas Tech anyway. So I don't know how much his draft stock got impacted. I'm like I said, I'm keeping honest with you. I understand why it's happening. The same thing can be said and is said for Broderick Jones. I'm hammering that 15 range with the Jets. He is 100% going to be a middle of the first round draft pick. And the evaluations of that, I'm in agreement with. The things that I do not get and the draft evaluation that I do not get and have not gotten since it's happening, Nolan Smith, I love Nolan Smith to death. Nolan Smith is not a top 10 evaluation for me as an NFL draft evaluator. He's not. He is top 10 evals for me, just to kind of round this out and give you kind of a perspective of what I think of this. Top 10 evals for me come with zero questions and immediate expectations. What do I mean by that? They got to have no physical limitations. They got to have no qualms about whether or not they will physically transfer. And I have to have absolutely no qualms about their ability to match and exceed the immediate expectations that come with being a top 10 draft pick. The moment you are a top 10 draft pick, you are expected to be a 10-sack guy in the NFL. If you are not, people will start to label you a bust or sneak their way into that. You don't believe me? Aiden Hutchinson, Trayvon Walker. Aiden Hutchinson had about 7.5 sacks last year. I think it was. Okay? Everybody and their mama talk about how great of a season Aiden Hutchinson had. Even though when he came into the league, everyone knew he was going to be ready to play. He was a ready-to-go football player. Trayvon Walker, on the other hand, everybody knew this player going to need some refinement. And guess what? Already right now, year 2, Trayvon Walker has to go earn his status as the number 1 player in that draft without being, oh no, might be a little busty, right? To me, Nolan Smith has physical questions. You know what they are. He is like less than 3% percentile in height and weight, okay, and arm length, all of the metrics. He is simply not the size that edge rushers are in the NFL. Outside linebackers are. Whatever you think you're going to play him as, he is not the prototypical size. So he has to overcome that. Nolan also has a tremendous amount of production questions. Okay, take out this year. He got hurt, obviously. A freak injury that nobody cares about, by the way. It's a pec injury. He's going to come back. He's going to be fine. It literally might as well not even be on his medical history. It's perfectly fine. He's good to go where he is. But there are still production questions. There are, hey, when the first 2 years, right? Hey, why didn't you play as a freshman? Well, there's a Azeez Ojulari guy. Why weren't you the true starter as a sophomore? Well, there's a Azeez Ojulari guy. Okay, your junior year, why weren't you some sack artist? Well, we had all these first-round draft picks around me. Okay, senior year, here we go. You're going to be the guy, first 4 games, 3.5 sacks, boom, pop goes the titty, and we can't really play because we got a pec injury. So the production questions are going to be there. That being said, I hope people are not listening to this and like, damn, he really hating on Nolan. Nolan, to me, is a top 32 eval. He is a first-round draft pick to me, okay? But he is a first-round draft pick for the sense that he is the 11th guy. He is the one missing piece on a football team that is one piece away. So if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, if you're the Buffalo Bills, if you're whoever it is, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, if you're the 49ers, if you are one of these the Chiefs, if you are one of these football teams that is either one player or one starter or one sack or one impact player or one good key cog left into your mixture and concoction of a football team and a roster from getting over that hump that you are currently strifed with, Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith is what we call a ground rule double in the scouting industry. Okay, you are not trying to swing and hit a ball 500 feet. Okay, like the Tyree Wilson pick. That edge rusher out of Texas Tech, I am swinging out of my shoes. My stepdad used to say, you're going to swing so hard, you're going to unbutton the top button on your jersey. That is the type of swing that is. Nolan Smith is let the club do the work on the golf course. Okay, don't overswing it. Just put the club head on the ball and watch it go. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Until I'm getting into golf. It's springtime. But this is not a guarantee. Just like every other draft pick is not a guarantee. And I hate that if he is drafted in the top 15, some goofball is going to stand on that draft stage and compare him to Hassan Reddick and compare him to Micah Parsons. I heard Nolan Smith get compared to Micah Parsons the other day. Micah Parsons, arguably defensive player of the year last year. Y'all know him as a rookie? Like, I love Nolan Smith to death. Can we stop with that kind of expectations? Because I'm telling you, this is not normal. These 6'2", 240-pound edge rushers having success, it doesn't happen a ton. You know how I know? Hassan Reddick. You're going to hear him compared to a guy that's having the year of his career in Philadelphia this last year. And no one will tell you that he has already flamed out and been cut from the team that drafted him 13th overall, the Arizona Cardinals. People, they just go right past that. They go right past that. Oh, he reminds me of Hassan Reddick. Well, guess what? Hassan Reddick has been lucky enough to find the right organization that just needed him to do the one thing God made him great at, not everything else. And guess what? When you have to do everything else, that is a byproduct of being on a bad football team. Guess who drafts in the top 15? Bad football teams. Nolan Smith is a playoff roster football player. I pray he gets drafted by a playoff football team. There we go. Which brings us to our next potential first rounder. I think he will be a first rounder because I want to read off some names of some football teams. The 49ers, the LA Rams, the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, the Houston Texans, the Green Bay Packers, the Atlanta Falcons, the Cincinnati Bengals. That's 8 teams. That's a quarter of the NFL. What do all of those teams have in common? They are Shanahan disciples. Okay? What is the Shanahan offense known for? The use of tight ends. So you ask me, is Darnell Washington going to be a first-round draft pick? I will tell you a quarter of the league is really, really heavy dependent upon tight ends. I will also tell you last year, 20 of 32 NFL teams were in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, at least 20% of the time. So 3/4 of the league is playing 2 tight ends, 2 of those big old jokers on the field at one time, at least a quarter of the time or a fifth of the time. All of that relays information to me. Those are tea leaves to me that say, hey, big fella, okay, we got this tight end out of Georgia that's damn good at run blocking. We don't really have one of those on our roster because all college football has given to me are like, I don't know, a bunch of Evan Ingrams lately. I love him. He's going to be great. First round draft pick. Brock Bowers is lately. Okay? Ain't been a lot of Darnell Washingtons walking through the door. Nope. Even the Meyer kid from Notre Dame, I think it's Meyer, the tight end, the other first round caliber tight end. That dude is not what we're talking about with Darnell Washington in terms of transcending your run game, immediately making you a much better running football team. And I will also tell you this, and I think if you've been paying attention to this channel, I say this all the time, I don't know if you guys have memories like I do, but when I regurgitate takes, I know I'm regurgitating them. So I'm fitting to regurgitate a take. I have always said Darnell Washington is going to be a better pass catcher on the NFL than he is in college. Do you know why? College quarterbacks, I love Stetson Bennett, predicated off space, predicated off who's open, right? You look through your progressions, you find who's open. Okay, who's got the biggest window? Who has made their guy lose the most, right? That's how college offenses most of the time work. Very rarely are you in a situation where everyone's covered, fit a ball into a tight window. A lot of college quarterbacks are told not to throw those footballs. Well, I'm here to tell you, when you get to the NFL, every window's tight. Every ball's into a tight window. Nobody's open. I listened to Mecole Hardman tell this at shouts out TJ and Top Shelf. Okay, I was watching Mecole work out one time, and first of all, 1% worker. That guy works his ass off everywhere he goes. He's the hardest worker everywhere, even after his contracts. All right, everything about that man is hard work. He earned every bit of what he's got. That being said, I vividly remember him talking to Caleb Webb, who at that time was a wide receiver that had no offers. I got him a D2 offer the next day. He's now a wide receiver at Tennessee. So long story short, I was listening to Mecole talk to Caleb, and he told him, he said, look, dude, like, you might think you're open, and you are open in high school, but there are no opens in pro ball. Like, as soon as you turn around, ball's going to be on you, catch it, and the DB's right on your back. There are no, like, you're never going to get open. If you cook somebody, you're going to cook them for a half a yard. That's it. That's how good these guys are at the next level. So what does that mean for a guy like Darnell? Darnell enters every single football game, every single snap with God-given 6 inches of separation over any opponent ever covering him. He's big. He is big. So when a DB is draped over his back, it don't matter. If I throw it to the 8'2" man over there in the corner, the 6'2" man ain't going to get the 8'2" man to drop that football. Okay, if I put it in that one spot. And you know who's really, really great at putting it in that one spot? Pause. NFL quarterbacks. That's who. God, we're on fire tonight. I'm telling you, man, we're absolutely on fire. He's going to be a first-round draft pick. If he ain't, goofiness. I also think that I think he weighed in at like 267 at the NFL Combine. That dude plays at 285. You can't tell me shit. You cannot tell me nothing. Darnell Washington plays at 6'7", 280. I promise you right now. Watch the tape of that dude. Look at them quads, all right? Them quads and that butt and that long torso. Yeah, Bubba, that's 280 pounds of a mean blocking machine is what that is. And again, I think that ability to catch the football in tight windows is only going to be enhanced once he gets to the NFL. All right, the last guy we have on the list tonight is Keeley Ringo. And I didn't finish out the eval here because I just wrote it down. Here's what you need to know, okay? Keeley Ringo, I'm going to give you his limitations first. I remember being on air. Again, my brain, your brain might not work like this. If it does, hit me in the comments. We might hire you to be like hey, when did I say that? Can we go find that? Intern. I remember saying about Keeley on a live show, I got a text message from someone who I trust with everything with defensive back evaluations. No, you don't know him. No, he does not have 35,000 followers on Twitter. No, I have not been around this dude in years. But I remember getting a phone call from him after a show or before a show, after a show, whatever, came back to the mic and said, guys, somebody told me they got Keeley Ringo questions. I'm flabbergasted as you are. This is when he was in high school. It's like they just didn't believe it. They didn't buy it. They didn't think he was going to be it. They just didn't. They gave me shit about my Patrick Peterson comp. Because if you go back and look, Keeley Ringo, search the Film Guy Network, you will see me break down his highlight films just like I did with Jalen Carter. And I compared him to Patrick Peterson. 6'2", 4.38, okay, long arms, can go. Like that's exactly what Pat Pete was. The difference is, and what that phone call was back in 2020, okay, hips, man, hips super tight. Real tight. This is a linear athlete coach. That's why I got the linear athlete coach stand straight up. Body is straight up and down. Cannot do this. Which that's what corner play is, right? Man-to-man corner play is. I'm going to back pedal, and then I'm going to flip my hips and run. It is the weave drill, not the weave drill, but the hip drill at the NFL Combine. When the guys are backpedaling and the guy turns the football and they have to turn their hips that way, and then he turns the football and that's man-to-man corner play. Once the guy decides a route, we got to get back in the hip and run in trail, right? Not ever what Keeley Ringo is going to be doing. I think he was forced to do it at Georgia because that's what Georgia does. Georgia's a two-man high, man-match football team. That's who they are. Even when they're running zone concepts, they're running a lot of zone match, right? That is what they are. That is a football team that they are. That is not conducive to the skill sets of Keeley Ringo. Keeley Ringo is one of the best football players ever created to go in a straight line. To say, okay, I'm here, I'm right here, and I need to go here. How do I get there? Okay, I got to open up. That's fine. But as soon as I open up, I get to run straight. Whew. You know what that is? That's zone coverage. Okay, zone coverage. Think about Keeley Ringo's national championship interception. Do you know what he was playing? Zone. Okay, think about Keeley Ringo's best plays in his career, the big hits. You know he's probably playing cover two, probably sitting in the zone hook, right? Sitting in the flat, blowing folks up. The best plays of Keeley Ringo are with his eyes and his chest to the quarterback. I got another stat for you because we're apparently stats guy tonight. Did you know last year that 67% of offensive snaps in the NFL, defenses were playing zone coverage? Keeley Ringo won't be a first-round draft pick because you do need to play that 33% worth of man coverage every once in a while. And there are a bunch of corners in this draft that are really good at that man coverage. But if you don't think his one-of-one corner coverage skills and his ability to run in a straight line and get to a spot when the ball is there, if you don't think that will be coveted in the top 40 picks of Thursday night and Friday, you are slap stupid. You are slap stupid because of that right there. He is a 1%er at playing zone, entering a football league that plays 67% of zone. There you go. Man, I thought last night was a little suspect, a little subpar. Thought tonight was banging. Hit that thumbs up button. Appreciate you guys for being here, man. I seriously do. I love you. See you over on Patreon, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. Tomorrow is X's and Joe's. It's a beautiful Wednesday. We're going to watch some football. I don't know what we're going to watch. Maybe you can let me know in the comments. Appreciate you. See you later.